Hey guys, it's Ethan. I just want to make a quick video about a few things that have kind of been some minor stumbling blocks lately. Um, but I was thinking about it today because I finally got my new passport in the mail, which was exciting. I can now travel the world if I wish. But yeah, it was a good thing to get out of the way. But that took some paperwork, and kind of a funny story. When I went to go renew my passport, I had to bring in my old one to the post office, and I gave it to the guy that was checking my passport application, renewal application. And by the way, you have to fill out the DS11, whatever. It's the 11 form. You can't fill out the 81. It's not. You can't fill out the plain renewal one if you're changing gender on your passport for some reason. That's what they told me when I called. But anyway, so funny story. I gave the guy my old passport, and he was looking at the picture. And granted, it was, God, it was probably 8 years ago that was from. 9 years ago, because next year I would have to have it updated anyway. Anyway, the picture was a little bit old, and I had long hair in it still. And so I gave him my old passport, and he's looking at the application, then he looks at my old passport, and he's like, "You have to be the owner of the passport to renew it." And I was like, "Yeah, that's me. That is my passport." And he was like, "But this is a girl." And it got really awkward. I mean, mind you, there's a line of people behind me in the post office, so I was like, I know that's a girl, but it is me. And here's my documents. I've got the letter for the surgery and the letter for my name change, and it needs to all be updated on my new passport. And I gave him the picture and the packet, and after some fumbling, and he really didn't understand what was going on, he accepted it. But it was kind of awkward and funny after the fact. More awkward in the moment, but definitely funny. So just keep in mind with like passports, really, I don't know. I've heard stories about people getting rejected or turned back for not having the appropriate stuff, but luckily my surgeon had already done passport letters before, so he knew what was required, and it was pretty easy for me, except for the awkward moment at the post office. But anyway, so one, I got my passport updated finally, which is great. Now it matches my driver's license. And then something that really surprised me that I had not thought about is credit scores, or your credit report. So I think I talked about this in a video. No, I didn't talk about it in a video yet, but I went to go open a new bank account, a joint bank account with my partner, and we were being processed, and the woman came back and was like, "Hey, your credit report has no history, and you're 27, so it's a little surprising you have no credit history." And it also came back with a fraud alert. It's kind of a problem. So I wasn't allowed to open up a bank account, and I still haven't quite gotten it fixed. This was about a month ago. It's a process. Basically, what I learned from, I got a hold of, thank God, somebody really nice at Experian, the first credit bureau I called, and they were super helpful. Essentially, what the woman I talked to explained to me was that she said it happens a lot when you change your first name. Last name changes usually happen without a hitch, but first name changes tend to cause a separate file to be produced. So what happened was I have two files now with each credit bureau, and I fixed it with Experian. She told me what I needed to fax in, basically identity, proof of identity, and court order for name change. And so I faxed those two documents in, and they fixed it for me, which was really nice. Equifax also fairly helpful once I got through to somebody who understood what I was talking about. I had to call a few times. Again, same thing, only they also required proof of residence for some reason, so I had to send in a utility bill and my social security card, a copy of my social security card, and the court order for name change, and my driver's license, a picture of my driver's license. So I faxed all that in. It still, as of last week, hadn't been fixed, so it's taking them a little while to fix it, but I'm going to check again next week. But yeah, it's kind of a pain in the ass of a process. Transunion, on the other hand, oddly enough, Transunion, they have been the biggest pain in the ass to work with. I did not have very much luck the first like 5 times I called them. I kept getting people who didn't really speak English very well for some reason, and there's a language barrier, and I think probably some cultural barriers, and I don't know. The guy kept telling me we can't do anything for you, and then he was like, "Well, I can make Ethan your also known as name, but it won't be your primary name." I was like, "That's not what I want. I know I have 2 credit files now with you, and I need to join them." So after many phone calls, I finally got through to somebody who understood what was going on, and what he told me was, for them, there's no way they can fix it. I can't fax in documents like I did to the other 2, and they won't merge my credit files. What I would have to do is go back to all my creditors over the last 10 years and have them change my name and report it differently, which to me doesn't make sense because a lot of those lines of credit I don't have anymore. Like my car loan, I paid it off. That's done. I don't know how I'm not going to go back to them and say, hey, can you update my name on something I don't even work with anymore, I don't even use anymore. So what he's, I told him that, and I was like, I've got my car loan, I had an old bank account I closed down, and there's something else on there that I was like, I just don't have it anymore, and I'm not going to go back to them and update something. Like, I play enough games with like asking people to change my name and update things. I'm not going to unnecessary lengths. So what he told me basically is nothing, then I'm going to have 2 separate credit files, and it won't be resolved for another 10 years, because once you get rid of things, once you take things off your credit report, it takes 10 years for them to actually clear off your credit report. It still gets reported for 10 years. So he said his best advice to me then is that anytime I go through a credit check, if the people are going to be using TransUnion, I need to tell them that they need to check both names, because oddly enough for them, there wasn't a fraud alert on my name, on Ethan, my new name, but what happened is only my current bank was reporting anything, so it looks like I have 1 line of credit open through my new name at 27 years old, almost 28. So obviously I would hope I had more than just 1 line of credit. From what I can tell, it has not affected my credit score yet, which is good because I had good credit, but yeah, just some documentation things that kind of sneak up on you. So just pay attention to that. There are things that you just don't think about. I thought it would just update automatically, and technically I guess it should have. And for some people I guess it's not a problem, but yeah, the woman at Experience said this happens a lot. So just something to think about. Yeah, otherwise, the other thing I wanted to update, nothing to do with like name changes or anything, but I went to the gym, an actual gym, for the first time the other day with 2 other trans guys, which was nice. But I haven't been to an actual gym since I started transitioning. A lot of my workouts I just do at home or outside, or I have a chin-up bar at home, and I do that kind of stuff. And my partner and I had one of her friends who's a personal trainer working with us for a little while too, so we worked with her, but she had her own equipment and it was outside, it wasn't in a gym. So anyway, I realized I got a little panicked walking in. Like, I have a lot of feelings about gyms, and I started worrying, and there's mirrors all over the place, so of course you're looking at yourself while you're lifting, mostly for form, but obviously I'm looking at myself in the mirror, and I didn't quite, I don't know, it felt weird, and I felt like my hips were still wider than I want them to be, and my top wasn't quite as big as I thought it was. I feel like I've lost some muscle mass in my shoulders and chest in the last few months, so I'm going to try and work on rebuilding that. The nice thing was I was with 2 other trans guys, and we could kind of talk about it and laugh, and so that helped. But yeah, I definitely get a little nervous in gym. There's guys pumping iron and definitely lifting a lot more than I am. So yeah, I felt a little weird, and I still look like a teenager a little bit, so awkwardness all around. But once I got in and got settled in, it wasn't a bad experience, and it was fine. But yeah, just some awkwardness. And on that same note, I joined the soccer league and indoor soccer team, and while it's been fun and it's a co-ed team, Um, there are times where I kind of stop and think like did I just do something that looks girly or what? I don't know. Like I still think about my mannerisms like way too much probably, but I don't know. I don't know how to stop that. I mean, it's gotten better with time, but I still do it. So anyway, it's fun though, and nobody seems to think otherwise, other than I'm just a short dude. Um, so whatever. But yeah, it's a little awkward. Anyway, this has turned into a longer update than I wanted it to be, but anyway, we'll go with it. So happy Thanksgiving to those of you in the U.S. this coming week, and in a couple weeks, yeah, I'll be doing my 9-month update. Whew, man, 9 months. That's 3/4 of the year, so that should be a good one. Anyway, take care, everybody.